In our lab, we're interested in soil biodiversity, and let's talk about conserving soil biodiversity. So first of all, when you think about conserving biodiversity, what comes to mind first is the above ground world. So you think about plants and you think about animals. You don't necessarily think about soil. Now, a lot of people are also interested in conserving soils. But when you think about conserving soils, what comes to mind first is preventing erosion and making sure soil is capable of supporting agriculture, so food production systems and other production systems. What all of this biodiversity protection on the one hand and soil protection on the other hand leaves out is soil biodiversity. So what's missing is a direct acknowledgement of the importance of soil biodiversity and also a direct consideration of protecting soil biodiversity in its own right. Now, when thinking about policy that should protect soil biodiversity, there are some formidable challenges to overcome. One of them is soil biodiversity is not very charismatic if you compare it, for example, to plants and animals. Soil biodiversity is very difficult to love because most of it is inaccessible to us. It's microscopic, it's hidden in an opaque medium. It's very difficult to experience, and that is something we have to work on. As people that work on soil biodiversity, we need to share more, of course, of our enthusiasm for these organisms and how cool they are. And the more you know about them, the cooler they become. A second challenge, though, is that we really lack data. Data on a global scale, data that informs us about where are the places where soil biodiversity should be specifically protected. Because hotspots of above ground, mostly what people are talking about is plant biodiversity, and below ground biodiversity don't necessarily match up. So by protecting, for example, by designating protected areas, by protecting biodiversity above ground, you don't necessarily protect biodiversity below ground. So where should we protect biodiversity? And another aspect that's really lacking is any kind of time series information on a global scale, like where are we headed? Are there some areas that are really experiencing a rapid decay in biodiversity and where we would really need to intervene? Now, part of the solution to this issue is to have a soil biodiversity monitoring program. And this is what a network called Soilbahn is designed to achieve. Now, there are many aspects to this, one of which is that the data to be collected on a global scale has to match up. So the protocols have to be harmonized, so to make sure everybody collects the data in the same way so that they're directly intercomparable. It's also important that this is an international and globe-spanning network, because otherwise this is simply not feasible to achieve. And finally, this needs to, of course, include biodiversity data, but it should also include ecosystem process or functional data, and it should include indicators that are based on them, so that we can better inform policy decisions. Now, I think this is really important, and it promises to really move soil biodiversity research on a global level to a whole nother sphere of possibilities for our science, but also in terms of how to better inform policy. And if you want to learn more, you can read a paper in Science that has appeared with the first author Carlos Guerra and the senior authors Nico Eisenhower and Diana Wall. The link for that is in the description. Hi there! If you like this video, don't forget to click like down there, and also remember to subscribe to the channel, and feel free to leave comments. See ya!